Hello and welcome back to Anchorage Bucs baseball here at Mulcahy Stadium. Vic Massey, Will Hopkins with you for Game 2 of this doubleheader, and the Bucs winning in grand fashion in the first game, a 13-1 victory for this Bucs team. The offense just exploded with two position players coming to pitch for the Pilots. We saw Owen Hayes, we saw Junior Barajas, both really struggling to get through this Bucs lineup. But in general, against Braden Rush, got him out of the game pretty quickly. The Bucs bats did, and of course, Jeremiah Arnett pitched a gem. Eddie Torres at the end came in there, and then in between, Adam Inyart as well. So we saw really good pitching. We saw really good hitting, Will. And how important is it for the Bucs to get this second win with how difficult it has been, how difficult the Pilots have been playing, and how much better the Bucs been playing?
I mean, it's still a huge game. Not only do you want the sweep just to have a sweep over the Pilots, but we said it's tight at the top of the ABL. And not only that, but these are two teams who, as of now, are lined up to play each other in the first round of the ABL playoffs. And you definitely want to go into that matchup if it does happen, having won the last game between the two teams.
Yeah, exactly. And on the mound for the Bucks, similar to Arnett being a little bit of someone we haven't seen start a lot, Dew is also someone that we haven't seen a lot. Elijah Dew has just started in a couple of games for this Bucks team, one of them being in another doubleheader where he also pitched, I believe, game two after Eli Lipinski, or maybe it was game one, but has just had a couple of starts in total in league play. Looking at Elijah Dew, just a couple of starts. Just the one start though. He did have two on his stat sheet, but one of them was misinputted. So we'll go ahead and flip you to the field camera. We'll talk more about these pitching. Of course, Elijah Dew, going back to him, in total eight appearances, one game start, like I said, 10 and 2/3 innings pitched, has the one save. We used to see him come out of the bullpen later into the games into save situations or just in the ninth inning in general. Like I was saying, 10 and 2/3 innings pitched, 11 hits, and six earned runs. Of course, five of those earned runs coming all the way back in June, the first and only game the Bucs have played at Chugiak. It just struggled to get through the Chinooks, but as of late has looked really good. His last time out, 3 innings pitched in relief versus the Miners on July 21st, one hit and no earned runs. So Dew was really good, and he'll face the Glacier Pilots lineup in the bottom half of the first inning. But as for the Pilots, it'll be Tommy Beam on the hill, and he'll face the Bucks lineup in the top half of the first.
Yeah, for Beam, this is his first start in league play. Just like Dew, 8 appearances and no starts, 2-1 record with 3 saves, an ERA of 3 even in 18 innings pitched. His last time out was just a day before Elijah Dew's last time out. For Beam, it was on the 20th of July. 2 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. Picked up the save in a 4-2 win at the Chinooks. And for Beam, he's facing a lineup that produced really well even before those position players came onto the mound for the Pilots. And that lineup fairly similar for game two here with just a few changes. Josh Hankins leads things off yet again. He moves defensively over to shortstop with Rob Vandergrift staying in the lineup, moving up to that 2 hole and playing on the hot corner at third base. Ryan Callahan will bat third and play first base after having game one off. And Tommy Eisenstadt will bat cleanup. He'll have the game two off in the field as a designated hitter. Max Ross stays in the middle of the order, playing center field and batting fifth. And Adam Enyart, who we saw pitch in game one, will hit in play right field in game two. He's in the 6 hole. Bottom three looks as follows with Peyton Knowles in the lineup, playing second base after getting the rest in game one. Dylan Maltby will catch and bat eighth, with Riley Hunsaker getting his first playing time of today. He'll play left field with Elijah Dew on the mound. So Hankins, Vandergrift, and Callahan, Eisenstadt, Ross, and Enyart, Knowles, Maltby, and Hunsaker with Dew on the mound. As for the designated home team in this Anchorage matchup, the Pilots, it's Dylan Marks leading things off. He moves to the outfield in left with Chase Knight playing shortstop, batting second behind the leadoff man Marks. Jack Dorn will bat third. He's in right field, and Junior Barajas will clean things up and once again be the designated hitter, not expecting him to pitch again here in game two. Owen Hayes is batting fifth. He's playing first base. All three Sanders in the lineup today. Logan Sanders is batting sixth, playing center. Troy Sanders is batting seventh, playing second base. Evan Chadwick is the catcher, batting eighth, and Marcus Sanders is on the hot corner, batting ninth, with Tommy Beam on the mound. Once again, Marks, Knight, and Dorn, Barajas, Hayes, and Logan Sanders, Troy Sanders, Evan Chadwick, and Marcus Sanders round things out for the Pilots. Bucs coming in after that win at 22-10, improving to 8-4 on the road, albeit that game and this game, both at Mulcahy Stadium. As for the Pilots, they fall to 13-21, still in fourth place with a 3-game lead over the Chinooks for fifth. As for the Bucs, first place, a 1.5 game lead over the Miners for that top spot magic number, down to 2 for securing that top 2 seed, with the Oilers sitting in third place at 18-17. Would love to see the Bucs secure having home field here in the next couple of days, and they can get one step closer with a win here in game 2 of this doubleheader. And the Bucs have already swept the Miners once this season. That was in non-league play on July 4th, but that was obviously a very meaningful sweep, with July 4th being such a great tradition here at Mulcahy Stadium. Would love to see the Bucs do it again here. Already picked up one sweep today by sweeping the Mayor's Cup, in doing so by winning game 1 of this doubleheader, and now would love to see the Bucs sweep the doubleheader as well and bring a bunch of brooms out in all different facets of this matchup between the Bucs and the Pilots. Bucs at 7-2 against these Pilots in league play, and with just one win last year in league play against these Pilots, boy, wouldn't it be good to finish at 8-2, dominating their Anchorage rivals with a potential playoff matchup looming. Bucs and Pilots getting ready here for the Bucs. It'll be the black jerseys yet again with the gray pants. As for the Pilots, they'll be rocking the camo with the white pants and the blue caps. Should have the starting lineups announced here at Mulcahy Stadium, and the national anthem coming here shortly. Might be getting started just a few minutes past 6:30, which is when we expected. And because we haven't seen the managers meet at home plate yet or the players announce, we'll take a quick break here, catch our breaths, in game 2 of this doubleheader. Welcome back. No anthem here for game two, as the Pilots have decided hearing it for game one was enough for their satisfaction. Tommy Beam taking the mound, the big, lanky righty, 6'7", 205 from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, West Virginia University. He'll be tossing to Evan Chadwick here in game two. Owen Hayes at first, Troy Sanders at second, Chase Knight at short, and Marcus Sanders at third. Dylan Marks in left, Logan Sanders in center, and Jack Dorn in right field. We mentioned all three Sanders in the lineup. A couple of them on the move. Logan and Marcus over to Arizona Christian. We were just told by Casey of the Glacier Pilots. Owen Hayes is moving to Masters University, and Evan Chadwick to Texas A&M Corpus Christi. He'll be catching up for Tommy Beam, who will face Josh Hankins, Rob Vandergrift, and Ryan Callahan here in the first. Bucs scored 13 runs in game one, which concluded just a little bit ago, and 5 runs off of the normal Pilots pitching, but before they turned to some position players in Junior Barajas and Marcus Sanders. Braden Rush giving up 5 earned runs. Owen Hayes giving up 3 earned runs. Owen Hayes also a position player, so all 3 relievers to come in position players for the Pilots. The Bucs taking things a little bit more seriously and paid dividends with Arnett, Enyart, and Torres giving up just the 1 run between the 3 of them. Bucs looking for their 8th win in league play against the Pilots, 10th in total after 2 on July 4th. These two teams also tying in the Scout Showcase. We're just about ready to go with Josh Hankins digging in. And now for the play-by-play for Game 2, here's Vic Maslia.
Thank you, Will. Been about 6 days since Tommy Beam took the mound last. Just 2 innings against the Chinooks. 2 base hits, no runs. And here to face the Bucs in a pivotal Game 2. Pilots still not locking in their spot for the playoffs yet. First pitch, ground ball out to short. Chase Knight gobbles that up and throws to first for out number 1. And we're underway at Mulcahy Stadium for Game 2 of this doubleheader versus the Bucs and the Pilots. Last time these two will face off against each other.
At least in the regular season.
Right.
We're talking between games. The wind has really picked up. It's blowing straight in from left field. It was giving some of our equipment the work.
Yeah, sure was. And see how the balls fly here in Game 2. Vandergrift moves up to the 2-hole spot and fouls that one out of play. Was batting in the 8-hole just last game.
And with that wind coming in from left, wouldn't expect balls to fly as well. But if that wind stops, the balls should take off a little bit more because it does feel a good bit warmer for Game 2.
Mm-hmm. Sun's poking out. Next pitch, called strike. Ryan Callahan back in the lineup for the Bucs. He's playing first base. We've only seen that a couple times this season. Elijah Dew making his way from the bullpen. Going to join the team just for a second in the dugout before he goes out on the hill. 0-2 to Vandergrift. He hits this to center field, and that'll get through for a base hit. Rob Vandergrift now with 3 base hits in his last 3 at-bats. That goes back to Game 1. One was off of Owen Hayes. The other was off of Junior Barajas, I do believe.
Also a sac fly. Just right. Really good day all around for him. Made every play at second base. One throw that he probably wishes was a little bit better, but Tommy Eisenstadt made sure it was no big deal. But yeah, just really settling in as a Buck.
And probably happy to have his first base hit off of a real pitcher, I guess you could say, as that one's a called strike to Callahan. Owen Hayes and Junior Barajas, both position players, but even getting those 2 base hits off of them has still got to feel really good. So already up to 3 hits, and when you look at a stat sheet, no one's ever going to know that you got 2 of them off of some position players. That one is outside to Ryan Callahan.
What's the saying? Box scores don't have pictures? Something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But Vandergrift does pick up that hit against a good pitcher in Tommy Beam. Checks on Vandergrift, who's in there safely. Callahan a hit and an RBI in his last game. That was against these Glacier Pilots a couple days ago. 1-1 count from Beam. Big swing and a miss at that one.
Yeah, not often we see Callahan with a swing that big. Came up empty that time, but for him, good to see a day off. He's had a few this month, but one of the more everyday players for the Bucs, and good that they're able to give him a little bit of rest.
1-2, fouled away. Look out, dugout.
It's not really a day off, but a game off. And yeah, it's like you talk about, the jokesters at the end of the dugout, not really protected by the fence. Always got to have their eyes open to what's going on at the plate.
Yeah, Chinook's the only dugout I think that's got the fully enclosed gate or fence going on. 1-2 misses upstairs. The Bucs will have plenty of games out in Chugiak. 4 more games. The Bucs have only played 1 game out in Chugiak versus the Chinooks. That was all the way back the first couple weeks. We're supposed to play a week ago, but that got rained out. 2-2. Check swing. They'll appeal. I'm going to say he didn't go.
Chadwick pointing to third. There's nobody over there. But yeah, that 12-7 win the first week of the season, a
Feels
wild
like forever
game.
ago. Yeah,
But one of the more memorable games.
for sure. 3-2, Vandergrift goes, and Callahan fouls that away. He'll have to go back. And that game, we saw the Bucs just storm out. The offense looked incredible, and the pitching was good too from Halverson. And Dew actually came in and had probably his worst outing, 5 runs given up, and it just goes to show you the resiliency from the Bucs bats. Were able to come back and add 4 or 5 more runs after the Chinooks added 7 runs themselves. It was like a 7 spot or 5 or 7 spot put up in one of the innings, but the Bucs were able to add on and make it a really non-competitive game for most of that game. 3-2, Vandergrift will try again. Ground ball, look at that. Tommy Beam stabs at that, and he gets Callahan running to first base. I guess there's not many Tommies in the league.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that Vandergrift was going, because if not, that could easily be a double play. Tommy Beam looked at second and decided not to go that way, and that's because of Vandergrift going with the pitch.
So Beam able to get that comebacker, and now Tommy Eisenstadt bats against Tommy Beam. 2 down quickly now, but Vandergrift in scoring position. Bucs plated 3 runs back in the first inning last game. Seen the Bucs put up 3 runs in a lot of first inning.
Yes.
That seems like that's been the crooked number that they like to put up, is that one's outside. But luckily in the last game, those 3 runs weren't the only runs scored, and the Bucs were able to add on bit by bit, hoping to get a run across here and just pile it on as the innings go through. 1-0 count, the pitch, a ground ball out to Troy Sanders at second. He's got that no problem, and that'll be the third and final out. So Vandergrift picks up the base hit, but he's left stranded at second base. We head to the bottom half of the first. Nothing new for the Bucs, and the Pilots coming up when we come back. Bottom half of the first inning, Dylan Marks will lead it off like usual, but instead of playing his normal spot at second, he plays in left field, which I found a little bit odd. I would think that he'd move over and play short or third base rather than going straight to the outfield, but I guess he could do a little bit of everything. So Elijah Dew ready for his first pitch, and here it is, ground ball foul. And went back, changed things a little bit. I said that Dew had a start in league play. He does not. That one start was back 4th of July. He pitched in a 7-inning non-league game. Did really, really well. 6 innings. Called strike there on a really nice breaking ball. First inning.
It was so good to see him pitch those 6 innings because coming in, we didn't really know how much we could get him. We hadn't seen him go more than 2, maybe 3 innings, and just coming out and pitching like that was really impressive.
Had in the count 0-2, still working from that windup. Pitch, ground ball towards the middle, and Josh Hankins is there. The shortstop fires a strike to first, 1 down.
Yeah, for Hankins, we know he has that strong arm at third base, showcasing it at the shortstop position here for game 2. Super slow roller off the mound, and if Elijah Dew can generate weak contact like that throughout game 2, it's going to be a pretty successful night for him on the mound.
And Dew, normally a stretch pitcher on every single at-bat, but has started working out of the windup, and I think he really likes it. And squaring to bunt there is Chase Knight, usually batting towards the middle of the order, has moved up to the 2-hole in this second game of the doubleheader. Wind blowing aggressively in from left field. Can't really tell. Well, I guess I can kind of tell with our equipment. Oh, 1 check swing. That looked like he went around. And he did. Good call by the third base umpire.
Yeah, if I'm Riley Hunsaker, I might come in a little bit more. It's going to be tough for these pilots to hit a ball over his head, especially with a lefty at the plate.
Dew quickly ahead again. 0-2 count, the pitch. And missed with that. Briggs couldn't squeeze it. Don't think it would have been a strike either way. Sun's died down a little bit now. Going in and out with that glare you guys see on your screen. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dew gets something he likes. The pitch. Can locate with the breaking ball, left it arm side. And it's starting to get chilly out here. Briggs and Carlone both walking back to the field with windbreakers on, and I think Briggs might need more layers. He looks chilly. 2-2. Fouled back.
That's definitely not what summer feels like in Arizona.
Not at all. Those guys, him, Carlone, and get Howerson involved, could all huddle up for warmth. 2 balls, 2 strikes, a little bit of a longer at bat to Chase Knight. The pitch, weak ground ball. Whose ball is it going to be? Peyton Knowles comes in, and he thought he had it, but he doesn't. It's under his glove, and that's going to be an error for the second baseman.
Yeah, kind of just rushed it in terms of picking his head up, picking his glove up, trying to get ready to make that throw. Instead of just waiting for the ball to get there. Chase Knight was busting it down the line, and the Pilots do, in fact, score it as an error.
So an E4 for Peyton Knowles, don't see that a lot. Definitely had time and didn't have to rush, but almost took too much time and didn't realize that he didn't get his glove fully down on that baseball. So we'll see how Dew works around it. Dorn is a fairly ideal candidate for a grab ball double play. That one misses outside.
Even though you only used a few pitchers, would love to see Dew go deep into this game. So many games coming up for the Bucs. Got to keep that rest of the bullpen. I mean, I'd consider Dew one of the members of that bullpen, but keep the rest of the guys fresh as we head into completing this 9-game and 7-day stretch.
1-0. Popped up foul out of play, and Dew definitely is a guy that can go more innings, I would say, on paper than Arnett. Arnett, we don't know for sure if he had the ability to go 60, 70 pitches in 6 or 7 innings, but Dew, we know, has gone 6 innings before, and despite him coming out of the bullpen in most of the other instances, we know he could definitely have that longevity. We'll just see how long the Bucs want to send him for. Good stop by, or good grab by Dylan Maltby. 2 balls, 1 strike to Dorn. If he reaches, Junior Barajas will get a chance. Turned out to be a pretty nice day at Mulcahy Stadium. 2-1. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, it really did. Before the game, talking to some of the players, and Brody Briggs was like, "We're not going to play today." And to be fair, when he said that, it was raining pretty hard, and I said, "I don't know. They're really trying to get this game in." And so far, weather hasn't even really been a problem.
Not really at all. 2-2 from Dew. A ground ball. Callahan has it. He'll go to second for one. Hankins will not have a play at first, and he'll put it in his back pocket.
And wisely so. There was no play to be made. Great job over there at first by Callahan. Obviously, a position he hasn't played as much as third or even left field, but given that he has played those two positions, showcasing his arm a little bit right there.
So Dole will swap places with Chase Knight. Dew will have to face the fourth batter in Junior Barajas. Lefty came into pitch in game one and really struggled to get these Bucs batters out. Eventually couldn't.
How many guys did he hit? 4?
Yeah, 4 hit by pitches.
None of them too painful.
No, not at all. Wanted another at bat, but that was after the 4th hit by pitch, and Jordan Brink was not having any of it. 1-0 from Dew, misses downstairs. The Bucs got handed an error by the Pilots in the first inning, and that was all they needed to put up a 3 spot. Of course, it wasn't just the error. An error in right field got Josh Hankins on, and then 3 runs came across the score. But for the Pilots so far this first inning, have not been as lucky with the E4 by Peyton Knowles. 2 balls, 1 strike after that last one from Dew caught the corner. This is hammered to right field, but it's going to be right in line with Enyart, who backs up and makes that play for out number 3. So Dew works around the E4 by Peyton Knowles, leaves one stranded. We head to the second inning, still scoreless in Anchorage. Into the second inning, it'll be Max Ross to lead things off for the Bucs. He got hit by a couple of pitches last game, one by Junior Barajas.
Up to bat first for your Anchorage Bucs at the top of the second.
After him, it'll be Adam Enyart, who came on to pitch for the Bucs in the first game, and then Peyton Knowles. Tommy Beam wastes no time, and Ross hooks this one foul down the left field line.
And I was saying we might see some more out of Enyart in the field. We've seen him pitch a lot more over the last 2 weeks, and I'd say maybe the whole season coming in combined, or maybe last 3 weeks, I guess I should say, but haven't seen him much in the field and at the plate.
0-1 is popped up into left field. There is Dylan Marks, and his first opportunity is a success, 1 down in the second.
Yeah, good to see Ross trying to go the other way. Unfortunately, got under the baseball that time. But now Adam Enyart, and wouldn't it be cool you pitch a scoreless inning in game 1 and then you can get a hit or a couple of RBIs. I'm not going to be greedy and say a home run, but to do it on both sides in consecutive games in a doubleheader would be pretty sweet.
First pitch he sees, big swing and a miss. Had the same idea as you, but comes up empty. Beam, like you said, long and lanky. Righty delivers. That one is low and away.
And coming into play, Adam Enyart with 8 RBIs, which is the most for anybody with as few at-bats as he has with just 40.
Next one, big swing and a miss. Another breaking ball. Enyart comes up empty. Beam stands at 6'7", 205. And we talk about how some people like to embellish a little bit about how tall they are, but Tommy Beam I don't think is lying one bit. 1-2 is hammered into left field. Dylan Marks retreating back, and he is able to grab that one.
Yeah, Mark's lucky to make that play because his first step was in, had enough time to recover going back, but one or two more steps in, and that ball off the bat of Enyart might be over his head.
So Peyton Knowles, who also did not play in the first game, will grab a bat. Interesting to see neither him or Ryan Callahan in the lineup in a check swing, but he went around.
Yeah, Knowles and Callahan are guys that we've been used to seeing on this infielder for Callahan in the outfield almost every day lately. Earlier in the season, Knowles was more of an outfielder, but been basically the everyday second baseman with Powell and Cusey gone.
Bucks lost Cusey about a month ago, I would say now, as that one is outside, and Christian Powell leaving about a week and a half ago. And more players to come leaving for this Bucks team. 2-1 to Peyton Knowles is fouled away. Be interested to see how Springman and the rest of the coaching staff figures out where to plug and play all these position players.
Yeah, and then also with the pitching, having to worry about innings limits.
Deuces wild, 2-2 pitch, a ground ball towards short. Chase Knight has it, and a long throw is just in time at first to take care of Peyton Knowles. So a 1-2-3 inning for Tommy Beam. That sends us to the bottom half of the second inning. Still no score. Nick Massley and Will Hopkins here at Mulcahy Stadium in Game 2. Still no score. Elijah Dew back out on the hill. He'll face 5, 6, and 7 Dew up for the Pilots in last inning. Dew faced 4. Worked around the error at second base. That was by Peyton Knowles. See if he gets another opportunity, as this was lined foul by Owen Hayes, who came in to pitch for the Pilots just last game.
Yep, in this second inning, the inning where the Pilots scored their lone run in Game 1, but talking about Hayes, was super interesting to see him alternate between going over the top and sidearm when he was out there on the mound.
Next one, a called strike by Dew's. Done a really good job so far in his 4 at-bats of getting ahead of batters. Getting them to put it in play, too. We know him to have that strikeout stuff, so would not be surprised if he gets one right here, but also would be surprised if he draws weak contact. 0-2. There's some weak contact, but it might get down, and it is tailing away from Max Ross, and it will be a leadoff single for Owen Hayes. And just unfortunate weak contact, but Talk about a ball that is just drifting further and further away from the only closest fielder.
Yeah, ball wasn't hit particularly hard, but center field, by far the biggest part of the park here at Mulcahy Stadium, 400 to dead center, and Max Ross has a lot of room to cover and was never going to get to that ball when it was hit to that spot.
So that'll bring up Logan Sanders, one of the 3 Sanders brothers in the lineup for Game 2. None of them in it for Game 1. He hits this well to left field, going back Riley Hunsaker, but he'll have room and grab that for out number 1. So one pitch takes care of Logan Sanders, a great way to come back for Elijah Dew getting the first out.
Yeah, it's just funny how baseball can work, because off the bat of Sanders, that ball was hit much better than the one that Hayes hit, and Sanders is headed back to the dugout, and Hayes picked up a single.
Sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. And Troy Sanders will grab a bat now. A chopper, going to be a tough play. Vandegrift getting to it, and it's going to be off his glove. See how that one scored, but Sanders gets down the line really quickly, and it would have been very tough to get him out.
I would expect for it to be a base hit. In all honesty, I don't know if Vandegrift was even going to make that throw. If he got it to his bare hand and realized he didn't have time, but it's scored as an error, that's a tough error for Vandegrift, because that's a play that we could have easily seen him try to bare hand, and I think if he did that it wouldn't have been ruled an error.
So an E5, and I wonder if that might get changed later on. I don't know. Definitely thought that was an earned base hit. Like I said, Sanders gets down the line fast, all 3 of them. Evan Chadwick bats now, the catcher. They'll throw back to second, and drifting off was Owen Hayes, and Dew was lucky he didn't get called for a balk.
Yeah, he did step off before he turned around, but unfortunately for the Bucs, Hayes was, I'd say, a third of the way to third base, so there was plenty of room to make that play, but nobody was really close enough to second base to make it happen.
Evan Chadwick will see his first pitch and swings right through it for strike 1. No balls, 1 strike. 2 on, 1 out. Dew in need of a ground ball. He gets a called strike.
Yeah, strikeout would do well as well.
No balls, 2 strikes. Dew quickly ahead. He's been doing a really good job of that, like I've been saying. Beautiful breaking ball, and somehow Evan Chadwick able to get a piece of it.
Yeah, not really sure how. His big old looper lollipop from Dew. We know he throws that curveball, no longer goes with the slider after his Tommy John surgery.
4-seam, 2-seam changeup, and that curveball. Devastating one at that. Still with an 0-2 count, the pitch, and another foul ball. And this being the second inning, and all the pitches Dew's had to throw. Just wondering if he has the ability to go longer than 4 or 5 innings.
Yeah, it hasn't been ideal in terms of pitch count, but at the same time, a ground ball, and you could be out of these 2 innings with 28 pitches.
That would not be too shabby. No balls, 2 strikes. Dew taking a look at Owen Hayes. A long look now as he's still waiting, and now the delivery is this is popped up into center field. Max Ross barely has to move, and he's got that for out number 2.
Yep, more soft contact for Elijah Dew. Hasn't had any strikeouts yet, which is a little bit surprising given the way he pitches, but he's getting the job done and now just needs to focus on Marcus Sanders.
Marcus Sanders, the last of the Sanders brothers to bat in this second inning. Logan popped out to left fielder Riley Hunsaker, and then Troy Sanders reached on that error by Vandegrift, which hopefully will get changed to a base hit. Beautiful breaking ball in there for a called strike. Owen Hayes at second, Troy Sanders at first. Pilots looking to make some noise here, but they got 2 down. Already down, 0-1 in the count. Dew just misses that low and outside corner.
Yeah, did not miss it by much, and rather than miss that low with how well he's commanded the zone than leave it up. and give these pilots something to hit.
1 ball, 1 strike. No one holding on. Hayes at second. This is a ground ball towards short. Hankins, nice play. The throw is just in time. They got him. Josh Hankins deep in the hole, no problem, as he gets Marcus Sanders flying down the first base line. Deuce strands 2 pilots on the base pass as we head to the 3rd inning. Still no score. Welcome back. Dylan Maltby at the dish to face off against Tommy Beam. Here in the top half of the 3rd inning. Ground ball, and Tommy Beam stabs that one once again as he flips to first base for the first out. And another 1-3 put out for Tommy Beam. Now seen him do that twice. So good job by him. That one a little bit harder at him. Dylan Maltby off the bat, but still very manageable, but also a good play.
Next up for the Bucs, number 1, Riley Hunsaker.
So that'll bring up Riley Hunsaker, getting his first lick at Tommy Beam. First pitch he sees is a ball inside.
And Hunsaker and the rest of the outfielders in this game have their hands full. I was just outside fixing some of our equipment that had been affected by the wind. It's howling out there.
Yeah, the outfielder's definitely probably tricky to track down some balls as that one's outside. Two balls, no strikes. Pitch from Beam, check swing, doesn't matter. It's a called strike. Great play by Hankins to end that inning. Did not think that was going to end up in an out.
Neither did I.
Vandergriff tried his best to range over there. That was Hankins' ball. And Hankins just took some time to get to it because he was playing towards second base a little bit. That last one is outside. 3 balls, 1 strike, you were saying.
Pretty stupid of us to doubt Josh Hankins making it out.
3-1, fouls that one out of play.
And obviously it wasn't a knock towards him. It was just such a difficult play to make. Did well enough to get to it as quickly as he did, and then I guess we just got to know with that arm, he's going to make the play.
Yeah, once you see the third baseman ranging over and you know that he can't make that play, it goes under his glove or it's just to the right of it, you know it's going to be even tougher for the guy behind him to make it. Called strike 3 on the outside part of the plate. Hunsaker bowing his head back a little bit. Looked like a really good spot from Tommy Beam. Tough to pull the trigger on.
Yeah, even if Hunsaker did pull the trigger, it was going to be a tough pitch to do much with. Just a pitcher's pitch right there for Beam for his first strikeout.
So that'll bring up Josh Hankins. Ground out to the shortstop Chase Knight in his first at-bat. On the first pitch as well. So that one is just a bit outside for Beam.
Yeah, looked like a pretty good pitch. Hankins may be lucky to be 1-0 as opposed to 0-1.
This one's cracked foul by Hankins.
That foul ball is brought to you by
And Beam is pitching well here. Obviously not his typical role as a reliever in all 8 of his previous league appearances, but he does have an ERA of 3 even for a reason, and he's kind of showing it off here.
Nice slider, it looked like. A lot of horizontal break, and it falls into the inside part of the strike zone. Tough pitch to hit.
Sweeping slider, had Hankins turning his back to it, and from our angle, understandably so.
1-2 is in the dirt. Good eye by Hankins.
Looked like Beam tried to go back to it that time.
And Beam has only gone a maximum of 3 innings, but he's done that a bunch. I'm looking at 4 different times that he's gone 3 innings. Deuces wild, 2-2. A ground ball out to Troy Sanders at second. Gathers a high throw, but it's hauled in by a tall Owen Hayes. And another 1-2-3 inning for Tommy Beam. That's 2 back-to-back for the long, lanky right-hander as we head to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Still scoreless in Anchorage. Bottom half of the 3rd inning. Pilots due up once again, and we are breezing through this 2nd game. Both Dew and Tommy Beam doing a good job. So Elijah Dew has definitely had a little more traffic to deal with, but he's done a good job at minimizing the damage that the Pilots have created. Just the 2 hits for the Glacier Pilots, 1 hit for the Bucs. Dylan Marks ready to stand in. It'll be the top of the order due up. Marks, Knight, Dorn. Dew has been ready and now ready for that first pitch, and I think that there's music either playing or a hot mic.
I think it was the music. I was worried we were doing something for a second. Had some tinfoil onto the field in between innings. You said we were breezing along. It's more than just a breeze out there.
Gusting along, I guess I could say, as the first one to Dylan Marks is a called strike. A nice breaking ball by Dew.
He really does throw a beautiful curveball.
Another breaking ball, but that missed in the dirt.
And for Dew, efficiency hasn't been a huge problem, but could be a little bit better if he wants to go deep into this game. Would love a quick 1-2-3 here in the 3rd.
1-1's in the dirt. And for Dew, the best thing is him getting ahead of batters. So a lot of 0-2 counts, but I will say the Pilots have fought hard when down 0-2 and have picked up a couple base hits, I'd say, with an 0-2 count, or at least 2 strikes on them. 2-1, there's the second strike. A big breaking ball and a big swing and miss from Dylan Marks, who missed every stitch of it.
Yep, and that's the type of stuff that we're used to from Dew, especially early on in the season. Swings and misses.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Shallow pop fly behind first base. Ryan Callahan is there in foul ground to make that grab. 1 down.
And it didn't look particularly hard, but we know with this wind, probably not an easy play for Callahan. Like we said, our stuff flying all over the place. My favorite part is how the tinfoil went on the field between innings and the players yelled Vic, even though I was the one who put the tinfoil where I put it. So I'm just glad to know that nothing's my fault.
That'll bring up Chase Knight, and I think they just look for the first person they see, and I think we're heading around the booth to come back in on this side, so he probably looked up and just saw me standing up in here in the booth looking all confused. That's okay. I'll take the beating for you, Will. Don't worry. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Thank you. I think Brody Briggs came to clean up the trash, so thank you to Brody. Tried to give him game 2 off. I guess we're kind of keeping that from happening.
1-1 misses inside. Chase Knight in his first at bat reached on that E4 by Peyton Knowles. Luckily, that didn't turn into anything too big. That error is still going to Rob Vandegrift. I have to have a word with the pilots. I really don't want him to get an error on that play. 2-1.
It's in their best interest, too. They'd pick up a hit.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Home cooking, too.
Just rare to see a play scored an error when the fielder's charging so hard. We had that happen a few games ago at second, and we decided to switch it because of how hard the charge was.
2-2, and that's going to nail Chase Knight.
That sounded loud, maybe like the kneecap.
Yeah, definitely not the best spot, wherever he got hit.
He seems to be a bit bothered by that, taking his time to get to first base, kind of threw the bat in frustration. Obviously no ill intent from Dew, but intent or not doesn't make it feel any better.
And that error at third base is actually going to be rewarded as a hit now. So Troy Sanders has a hit. Go ahead and change that on my book. And glad that they changed that.
I don't even think they're listening to us. I believe they keep score from the dugout, so maybe their broadcaster texted him as well. Whatever, got the job done.
And batter now Jack Dorn. He watches that one way up and away. Still yet to have a 1-2-3 inning. That's Elijah Dew. I guess he could if Jack Dorn rolls over on one. One-0 count with Chase Knight standing at first is hammered, and that might be out of here, and it's a no-doubt shot for Jack Dorn. That one was absolutely pulverized.
I don't think we've seen a ball hit that hard off the bat in a game this season, in all honesty. Most of these home runs are wall scrapers. That was not.
Yeah, and it's hard to say a no doubter right off the bat because you have to remember you're up here in Alaska and the wind is different. The altitude makes the balls fly different. Of course, the wind. This one's blowing in from left field instead of right field, which I don't think would have helped in this case, but that's why I didn't immediately say it was gone off the bat. But if I was a bet man and had to go back and put the house on something, it would be that ball is a no-doubt shot, and Jack Dorn just got every stitch of it.
Yeah, all Enyart could do in right field was turn his back and admire it.
So a 2-run shot as that one scored Chase Knight. That'll bring up Junior Barajas. The bases are clear. Still just one down as Dylan Malpe's going to go have a talk with Dew.
And for Dorn, that's his first homer of the year, just his 4th extra base hit, coming in with 3 doubles. And the moment that left his bat, it was destined for going over the wall.
Yeah, so the meeting breaks up between Dew and Malpe.
And if you're Dew, it's just luckily it's just a 2-run shot, not 3 or a grand slam. You saw what your offense did last game, even before the position players came into pitch. Settle down and just trust your offense that if you can hold the Pilots to these 2, you should be all right.
1-0's grounded to Callahan at first. He'll take it himself. That's the second out.
And so huge for Dew to pick up that out after the home run. Should definitely help him settle back down.
100%. Looking at the home run, looked like it was just the fastball middle, and Dorn was either expecting it or took a wild guess and happened to be right. And that will bring up Owen Hayes. We had the first base knock for the Pilots, who now have 3. Hayes and Sanders both getting base hits in the last inning. Swinging and a miss at that.
And that's a good recipe to take advantage of somebody who might be looking to tee off on you. Owen Hayes looked like he was sitting fastball there, and instead he got the curveball.
0-1 from Dew. Another great breaking ball. It's a called strike. Might see him go back to that breaking ball a lot now that he knows that fastball might be a little bit vulnerable, at least to Jack Dorn it was.
And Dew throws pretty hard, so that fastball providing some of the power for Dorn.
Ahead 0-2. Just one more pitch will send the Bucs bats back up, as this is lined and off the glove of Peyton Knowles, who barely had a chance at making that play and probably was a little bit messed up by Elijah Dew, almost getting hit by that.
Yeah, that one almost took Dew's head off. Luckily, he got out of the way, and Knowles, I think, was kind of distracted. Like you said, still a play that he probably should make, or at least glove. Interested to see how that one scored already here in the third inning. If he plays in the scoring, and it's ruled a single.
I think that's the right call. This is fouled back. Just seemed like it had a lot of weird spin, and I don't think it hit off of Dew, but that was really tough. And I think for Peyton Knowles, just got tripped up. So Logan Sanders will bat now. Dew taking his time out on the mound. 0-1 is a called strike again. He's quickly ahead. And you know what, Will? That's going to be the problem is Dew's thrown a lot of strikes, and he's getting ahead of a lot of batters. And sometimes you throw too many strikes, you're bound to throw one down the middle, and that's what happened against Jack Doran. And that's just the risk you take. But if Dew can have a game where he gives up one or even no walks, he might take that 2-run bomb. Tough play for Vandegrift, and he's not going to be able to make it. And just nothing going Dew's way, it seems. Vandegrift obviously a little bit upset with himself, you can see visibly, but it didn't seem like he had any chance of making that play. I think for Dew, it might be nice to see, Knowles or Vandegrift just at least glove one and attempt to make the play. And not that they would have had it either way, but just in the mental psyche for Dew, I feel like it would help him so much to see that his infielders are really close to making that out.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate some of these balls, like especially that one, hit super softly, and obviously the home run, not the case, but for many of these others, not loud contact, and Dew just getting unlucky, and I think that might be it for him.
It is, and so Dew only goes through 2 2/3 of an inning, and he will give it up for, it looks like, Chad Gurney coming out of the bullpen. So an unfortunate and tough outing for Elijah Dew. Hopefully the bats can wake up in the top half of these innings and give the Bucs some run support. But we'll take a little bit of a break, and we'll welcome the new pitcher onto the mound after this. Welcome back. It is Chad Gurney out on the hill for the Bucs, in for another bullpen appearance. We saw him start 3 games for the Bucs and thought he was going to be a solidified starter, but now back in the bullpen, 24 in a third innings pitched, 14 hits, 8 earned runs. He comes in out of relief for Elijah Dew. The first pitch he throws is a ball just missed.
And Gurney definitely a candidate to go multiple innings. Did so in 2 innings of work against these Pilots just a couple of days ago on Wednesday. 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts for Gurney.
Just need the one out from him right now, and a big swing and a miss from Troy Sanders. And I think with Dew, it's just so unfortunate because he's probably telling himself, well, I just got super hard contact in that home run. That one was gone. A lot of times hard contact can end up in outs, and then I got super soft contact, and they ended up being infield singles.
Yeah, nothing really going his way. Didn't catch many breaks.
1-1, big cut and a miss at that. Another breaking ball and another ugly swing from Troy Sanders. I wonder if for Monty, just the mental psyche of everything going the wrong way for Dew and just not wanting him to spiral out of control, and Bucs really wanting to win this game. Maybe that was all a big recipe for putting in Gurney. Not really sure. 1-2. Ground ball out to short. Josh Hankins will flip to Peyton Knowles, and Chad Gurney gets the third and final out. Unfortunately, Elijah Dew gives up the 2-run shot to Jack Dorn and is out of the game, and Chad Gurney is in. But we head to the 4th inning. Hopefully the Bucs bats will wake up and will start scoring some runs. A 2-0 lead for the Pilots. Welcome back. Now a 2-0 lead for the Pilots, all thanks to Jack Dorn's 2-run shot off Elijah Dew, who unfortunately had to be taken out of the game. We were talking during the break, would have loved to see Dew get out of that inning and just shove the rest of the way and shut down these Pilots. You know he has that ability, but Monty late into the season not wanting things to spiral out of control and probably really wanting to get this doubleheader sweep. So he puts in Chad Gurney, who gets the job done at least for the 3rd inning, and now Rob Vandegrift grabs a bat and takes a called strike. For Vandegrift, his last 3 at-bats, all base hits.
Let's make it 4.
Got the one and only base hit for the Bucs against Tommy Beam, who's looked really good, and a big swing and a miss at that breaking ball.
Yeah, and for these Bucs, a lot of the beginning of the season, we talked about bouncing back, scoring right after the opponent does. How about we see that here in the top of the 4th?
0-2, cut on and missed, foul tipped off the bat of Rob Vandegrift. But a really sweeping slider from Tommy Beam.
Yeah, and Beam with that delivery, it's tough for these batters. It's coming from an awkward angle and an awkward height, and Vandegrift figured him out the first time, not there. But you can see why he's a good pitcher in this league.
One misses away to Ryan Callahan. And again, misses away. 7 walks in his 18 innings pitched.
Not horrible.
Not at all, especially for a guy that's that long and lanky. You would expect more, and you expect command to be his real big issue, but he has really good command of the baseball.
It's
2-0's line foul, you were saying.
it's funny that you looked that up because I was just about to do the exact same thing. We talk about those taller pitchers struggling with their command, and I saw you scrolling. Luckily, saved me the effort.
Yeah, you usually always do it. 2-1. Foul tipped into the mitt. Finally beat you this time.
Yep, doubleheader had me working a little bit quickly for Beam stats before the game.
Yeah, what a turnaround. I mean, 30 minutes between last pitch and first pitch of game 2. 2-2 misses upstairs.
And thanks to the Bucs for supplying us with some nice cheeseburgers in
Yeah.
between the two games.
Yep,
And some fries. You
Yeah.
had more fries than I did.
I wonder why. Payoff pitch to Callahan is rocketed into the right center field gap. That's going to get down, and it's going to go all the way to the wall. Callahan, big turnaround first. He's chugging into second base. He turns on the Jets. He's going to head into third. The cutoff throw misses. The throw into third base is not in time. It's a triple for Ryan Callahan as he revs the engines.
Yeah, he does rev the engine, and why not? He got as close to that dugout as he can over there at third base, and he's not your triple candidate. He hits the ball well, but we know some faster guys on these Bucs. He says, hey, watch this, and he really turned it on about halfway between first and second base, and we're thinking, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? And yes, he did.
That was one of the best gappers we've seen. A lot of times, like especially Lamb's balls, are hit really high up in the air, but he gets so much of it, it ends up into the wall. But this one was hit on the line by Callahan, and that's what made it so difficult for Sanders and Dorn to get to. And when they were getting to that, Callahan was already about to round second base. So the infield comes in, try to protect that precious first run from the Bucs as Eisenstadt lines that foul.
And not only is that his first triple of the season, that's his first extra base hit.
Callahan's similar to Peyton Knowles, just both do a great job of getting themselves on any way they can, but are guys that don't have the biggest swings and are really just trying to get hits any way they can. You see Knowles and Callahan, ability to go opposite field is really good. 2-1, hit the other way foul, and I'm not trying to say that they're just looking for bloop hits that find some sort of green grass. They hit the ball hard, but they're not gap to gap like guys like Carlone or Lamb are.
Callahan hitting 293 coming into play, 393 on base. Peyton Knowles over 400 on base coming in. Just goes to what you're saying.
2-1 check swing, he went. And that's going to be the second out for Tommy Beam, and just like that, he's 1 out away from erasing that 1-out triple.
Yeah, unfortunate for Eisenstadt, just could not quite hold up his swing, and would have loved him to be able to do that, because with a guy at third and just 1 out, a lot different than with 2 outs. Max Ross, though, a really big RBI guy for this team coming into play with 12.
First pitch he sees called strike on the outer half. Loved it. That's what I said earlier. Love to see Peyton Knowles find a gap too. He's always a guy looking to get on base, but sometimes I feel like he's so selfless, he doesn't really swing so hard. Oh, one swung on and missed, and I talked to him about it. He's like, yeah, you know what? That kind of reminds me, I haven't really swung for the fences. I just try to get myself on base any way I can, and I'm like, hey, I love that. It's super selfless of you, but hey, you get up there with the 3-1 count, got some runners on base, why not let it fly? Ground ball right back to Tommy Beam. That's the third comebacker that he's taken with ease. So Ryan Callahan's 1-out triple does not come around to score. It'll be Chad Gurney back out on the hill for the Bucs, who are running out of outs here, trying to shut down the Pilots. Still a 2-0 lead for the other Anchorage team when we come back. Bottom half of the fourth inning, Pilots trying to add on to their 2-0 lead. Chad Gurney trying to shut them down and get the bats back up. Unfortunately, Callahan's one-out triple does not induce a run for the Bucs, and Tommy Beam gets himself out of it, just allowing the 2 base hits to the Bucs this whole game so far, and the tapper out to Gurney should be an easy play as he fires a strike to first. 1 pitch, 1 down.
Little page out of Tommy Beam's book with the comebacker. No problem for Gurney, as once again having to ask the Pilots to cut the music.
So that was Evan Chadwick, and it'll bring up Marcus Sanders.
Marcus Sanders.
First pitch from Gurney misses just a bit outside. A ground ball, Rob Vandergrift bobbles at third, picks it back up. The throw is just in time. And almost an actual error for Rob Vandergrift at third base, but luckily he's able to get his man.
Yeah, not the cleanest play. Did a good job to keep his composure and trust his arm, knowing he had enough time. Good stretch as well from Callahan over at first base. Not only get the ball, but keep the bag. Not the cleanest defense for the Bucs so far after no errors in Game 1.
Still just the one error by Peyton Knowles. That one by Vandergrift got taken back, but like you said, some trickier type of plays, maybe made trickier by this defense. And foul tip at that. Gurney ahead in the count.
And even on some plays that haven't been scored errors, plays that we know the Bucs can make.
Right. Dylan Marks, an excuse me swing, but he totally went around, and that's going to be the third strike as he is down. Gurney, quick, lightning fast, 1-2-3 inning, couple ground balls and a strikeout sends us to the fifth. The Bucs, like I said, running out of outs, have to score some runs. We'll see you after this break. Still a 2-0 lead for the Pilots. Speeding right along as we're already into the fifth inning. This game a lot faster than Game 1, but even Game 1 not too long, I would say.
Game 1 would have been even quicker if not for how the last couple of innings went.
100%. Position players put in by the Pilots just made it a longer game in general. Tommy Beam is, I guess, done with his warm-up toss, and we're just waiting on the Bucs. And due up for the Bucs is supposed to be Adam Inyart, but it looks like they're going to pinch hit for him, and it's going to be Andrew Lamb. So Andrew Lamb has grabbed a bat. Inyart is walking out of the clubhouse, shaking his head. He looks okay. I'm wondering if he just missed his at-bat. No, sure
I saw him and Hankins walk out of there. Maybe just had to use the restroom. Hope that it was predetermined that he was coming out and he didn't just cost himself the rest of the game.
So Lamb will pinch hit here in the top half of the fifth inning. Most likely take his spot out in right field, I assume. Lamb's played plenty of right field so far. First pitch he sees, big swing and a miss. That breaking ball buried to the back foot. Now with Lamb hitting, you do have a lefty facing the righty beam. And you're lined out sharply to the left fielder, Dylan Marks. But when pitch misses upstairs, and after that triple by Callahan, even though 2 hits for the Bucs, want to get a little bit greedy now with Lamb up at the plate. He's an extra base hit machine.
Yeah, those gaps calling his name.
1-1, misses downstairs, I believe. And Lamb's extra base hits are always hit super high up in the air, but he hits it so hard that it just keeps traveling, and they always end up being doubles because I think he hits it too high. And it just gets to the wall so much quicker. 1-1 is rocketed to center field. Long run for Logan Sanders, but he's going to track it down.
Yeah, another ball squared up by Lamb. A lot of the times going to that opposite field alley,
Right.
left center field, and that's what he tried that time. Unfortunately, hung up for him.
And Callahan's was hit so much on the line that it just kept going further and further back, and that gave him plenty of time to go to 3. Peyton Knowles now with 1 down. Tommy Beam looks really sharp. Minus that triple given up to Callahan, and I guess the base hit to Vandegrift. It's just been all goose eggs, nothing for the Bucs.
Yeah, I would normally say he could go the whole way in just this 7-inning game, but at the same time, his first start of the year, so I don't know if that's the case.
0-1's going to be a base hit to center field. Peyton Knowles doing the job.
Yep, Peyton Knowles doing Peyton Knowles things. Look up, and he's at first base.
Yep, like I said, sometimes just too selfless with it. And I said this last inning, but I told him, hey, 3-1 count, got some runners on. Maybe swing for the fences. You've got a couple strikes to work with. You know how disciplined of an eye Peyton Knowles has. But he's just always looking to move runners over and just pass that baton. I think that's the most important thing for him. And hey, if you got guys like that, then you have your fair share of Carlones and Lambs who are going to hit those extra base hits for you. Dylan Maltby at the dish. Rounded out to Tommy Bean.
He's no stranger to a triple.
Not at all.
Had one against these Pilots on July 4th.
Yep, that one was the left fielder diving in for that play, and it got all the way to the wall, and Maltby was able to chug around towards third. And not that he's one of the slower Bucs, but he is a catcher, so not the fleetest of foot.
And talking about how the Bucs are going to work things defensively with all these guys leaving, I just remembered thinking about Maltby and Lamb as catchers. We saw earlier in the season Lamb playing some third base. That could be an option going forward.
Definitely. It's been a minute since we've seen Lamb in the infield. And they're going to get Peyton Knowles in a run. No, they're not. That ball gets away from Owen Hayes, and Peyton Knowles is going to slide into second safely.
That's a break.
Huge break. And Knowles, very speedy on the base pass. He's always causing some trouble. But we've seen the Bucs as of late get caught in those rundowns where the pitcher will pick off towards first, and we'll get one of the Bucs caught up between first and second. But a lot of times, Will, it seems like they're misplayed, and the Bucs, yeah, they get lucky sometimes, but it's more so that they do it so often that requires the other team to make a play. As this is flied out to right field, Jack Dorn is under it, makes the grab. Peyton Knowles will tag. A good strong throw, but it's going to be cut off by Chase Knight. So 2 down. The first runner is 90 feet away, though, for the Bucs.
Yeah, and a little bit surprised that error was given to Beam. I thought it should have been given to Owen Hayes. Wonder if that'll be changed. Error nonetheless, and yeah, you got Knowles at third, but now with 2 outs, the only chance of scoring really without a hit would be an error or a wild pitch.
So Riley Hunsaker pops this one up. It's going to be trouble into foul ground over by third base, and no one's going to get to it. And like I said, Sanders, Knight, Marks heading over there is going to be a tough play any way you draw it up, and no one could grab it. But I think Marcus Sanders, that would have been really tough for him to make almost an over-the-shoulder type of grab. I think Chase Knight was having to run way too far, and same thing with Dylan Marks. So honestly, understandably so that they can't track that down. It really would have been a remarkable play.
Yeah, Marcus Sanders, I think, got to the area in time and then just failed to locate the baseball.
A win not helping either. 0-1, ground ball, going to be a tough play. Troy Sanders gets to it, gets up to his feet, but he is not in time, and the Bucs score. The first run for the Bucs in Game 2 is a Most likely infield single and an RBI from Riley Hunsaker.
Got to be an infield single. I mean, Troy Sanders did nothing wrong. In fact, he did everything right, and sometimes the play is just not meant to be made. Incredible diving, sliding stop, and then got up quickly to make the throw and got a lot on it. But you got Riley Hunsaker, a speedster, running to first.
So that scores Peyton Knowles, and it'll flip to the top of the order, and a delayed steal by Hunsaker. Here comes the throw, and they got him. A really good throw by Evan Chadwick, and a great tag applied by Troy Sanders kills the Bucs rally, but they do pick up one run. The score is now 2-1, the Pilots lead. Man, some quick in-between innings, both Kearney and Bean not needing many warm-up pitches at all to get to the next frame. First pitch by Gurney is a called strike. The batter, Chase Knight. It'll be 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Pilots. And Gurney's so quick, Rich Price now making his way over to the third base line as the third base coach. 0-1. Called strike. I've always wondered what would happen if first pitch hits a gapper and he's trying to go to third base, but he doesn't have a third base coach to tell him if he's able to go to third or if he has to hold up at second. 0-2 by Gurney, misses up and away. What do you think in that instance?
Got to just make the decision yourself.
Yeah.
The big question would be if he knew there was no one over there. If not, he'd probably look over there and be confused and then have to look back over his head.
1-2, guides it down the left field line and thankfully foul.
Yeah, slow roller. Luckily had enough spin on it to carry it foul on the ground over there. Vandergrift not playing super close to the line.
Chase Knight has reached on both of his plate appearances. An error by Peyton Knowles and then a hit by pitch.
And that hit by pitch big because
he eventually scored
on that home run, and if not, he'd be tied.
Yep. Is ahead in the count 1-2. Gurney delivers a ball downstairs, 2 balls, 2 strikes. The bullpen is fairly empty for the Bucs. And remind you that Gurney's had 3 starts this summer. We thought he was going to be a regular starter for the rest of the season, but the past 2 outings he's come out of the bullpen, so maybe back to that bullpen piece. And well, with the playoffs coming, it's a maximum of 6 games, so you really need, 3 or 4 starters to go, and the Bucs, I think, have that. I'll tell you about those other starters after this 2-2 pitch. It's knuckled off the bat to Josh Hankins at short, and that one is going to be the first out.
I think it's pretty clear that the Bucs have a 4-headed monster in terms of starters, as long as there's no innings limits being reached. You've got some incredible ERAs between Zan Rose and Garvey Rummery, and then we know what Wyatt Halverson and Cole Carlone are capable of as well.
So, yeah, probably a good decision to send Gurney back to the bullpen, I would say, as he faces Jack Dorn coming off that 2-run shot, fouls it out of play. But like I was saying, you've got 4 guys already ready to go. There's just no reason for you to try to give Gurney a start in the postseason when you can use him maybe 2-3 times out of the bullpen.
And given that he pitched just 2 days ago and he's already pitching here today, that kind of tells me that this is probably permanent.
Yeah. 1-1. Ground ball foul. Yeah, definitely permanent, I would say, Will. I'm glad you said that because he would have to go 5 days without pitching now, given that he's gone almost 2 days in a row, or 2 games in a row at least. But yeah, I don't think there's any chance that he starts another game, but I think that that's perfect for the Bucs to use him out of the bullpen. 1-2. Misses outside, and Arnett can go 2 or 3 innings, no problem, but it's nice to have a guy like Gurney who can go 4 or 5 if a starter really gets into trouble. 2-2. Called strike 3 on the outer half. Jack Dorn doesn't like the call. Gives the home plate umpire an extra look back as he heads to the dugout. 2 down quickly for Gurney.
Yeah, perfect pitch from Gurney on the outside corner. But like you were saying, with those starters, we know that Rylan Hyder is no longer with the team. We know that Brody Purcell is no longer with the team. Haven't had any starters leave. So it's really the bullpen that needed help, and Gurney's providing that.
Peter Barajas fouls that back, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a starter for the Bucs maybe give up 2 or 3 runs and just pitch maybe a couple of innings and just have Gurney ready to go right after that, especially in a playoff game that's so important to win, as this is fly to left field. No problem for Riley Hunsaker coming to the line to make that grab. Another 1-2-3 inning for Chad Gurney as he sits down the Pilots. The Bucs looking to tie it up or take the lead when we come back. 2-1 Pilots lead. Top half of the 6th inning, just 6 outs left for the Bucs, as this is a 7-inning doubleheader. First game, the Bucs winning in grand fashion, and if they did have mercy rules, the Bucs would have hit that mercy rule with a 13-1 victory. Ground ball out to short, first pitch, and might be a first out, but a bobble by the shortstop Sanders, and he's going to be safe. Excuse me, that is Chase Knight over there at shortstop, and Josh Hankins always running down the line for the Bucs and gets rewarded for doing so.
And we've had some questionable hit error calls. That one's got to be an error.
Yeah.
Routine ground ball for Chase Knight. And if you gift these Bucs extra outs, you better be careful, especially when you're putting Josh Hankins at first base. 3 stolen bases in game 1 of this doubleheader, and also had 3 stolen bases just a few games ago. So not the guy you want to be putting at first base.
Not at all, and that's how the scoring started in game 1. And it's going to be Cole Carlone, actually. He's going to pinch hit for Rob Vandegrift. But like I was saying, game 1 started out in the first inning with an error by the Pilots infield, and that error actually was by Jack Dorn in right field, and he's made up for it ever since with that 2-run shot. First pitch to Carlone misses, is a called strike on the outside corner. A little late call by the home plate umpire. Like I was saying, last game, 3 runs scored in the first inning, all started by an error and a gift that the Pilots handed to the Bucs, and might have just gifted another one to Josh Hankins. And it was Josh Hankins who started with that error in the first game, in the first inning. So both eerily similar, and of course Cole Carlone came right after him in that first inning in game 1. So a lot of weird things lining up right now. Next pitch to Carlone misses low and in. A walk, after that error by the Pilots, which put Josh Hankins on, and then back-to-back strikeouts. You thought that Rush had the Bucs out of the first inning, but another walk hit by pitch, and eventually 3 runs came around to score.
Yep, scoreboard flickering on and off in right field. Hopefully they can get that figured out. And just zooming ahead to the next half inning, I'd assume Carlone will take over at first, and then Callahan would move over to third.
It's a good guess. 2-1. Hit through the hole, and it's a base hit. Hankins takes a big turnaround second. He's going for third. The throw is nowhere near, and it's a base hit for Carlone. First and third. Nobody out in the Bucs in the driver's seat right now.
Yep, Bucs are in business here in the top of the sixth inning. When Carlone put that ball on the ground and I saw it was getting through the right side, my eyes immediately went to Josh Hankins. That ball, it was not the easiest one to go first to third on, but Hankins is such a speedster, challenged Dorn, and like you said, not the best throw from Dorn, and even if it was, Hankins just too speedy.
So the Bucs really in control here, and Ryan Callahan grabs a bat. That triple in his last at bat, you know he's probably feeling himself right here. Only thing not on his side is that wind that's blowing out almost directly in from left field, a little bit towards the Bucs third base dugout.
A little bit curious if maybe a little something going on with Carlone and Hankins first and third. We know the Bucs like to do some things in that situation.
Carlone stays put. First pitch is a called strike. Probably a good thing Carlone didn't go down on that one. That was a favorable pitch to throw down for Evan Chadwick. Brett Castillo is warming up, or has been warming up, in the Bucs bullpen, and he had a great game on the offensive side in Game 1, and might come into pitch for Game 2. Carlone able to get back.
And it's funny because I talked to him between games, said great game, and he said interview. I said we don't have time between games. Are you in the lineup? He said no. I said, hey, if you go out there and pitch and do something special, maybe we'll have to talk to you.
Could definitely be what's about to happen. Is Callahan hits it through the left side, and the Bucs tie it up. It's a 2-2 game.
Have a game. Ryan Callahan, the triple, unfortunately didn't give the Bucs any runs, but it may have given Ryan Callahan some more confidence in there, just going the other way with it, not trying to do too much. Gotta love the approach.
So that'll bring up Tommy Eisenstadt as the Bucs just keep moving that line. Do such a great job of that. Really trying to work on those left on bases, and they've done a good job in the first game and trying to do a good job here. Tommy Beam steps off, recollects himself.
And he's got to recollect himself. This is a huge moment in this game.
Eisenstadt squares to bunt. He lays it down, and Marcus Sanders only has one play, and it's to first. It's made, but no one was covering third base at all, and that was not a great bunt, I would say, from Tommy Eisenstadt, as Sanders got to it really quickly.
Yeah, and I think the Bucs are a little bit lucky there, as is Eisenstadt, that he ended up just getting that sac bunt down. I think if Sanders looks at second, he honestly has a chance over there.
Hey, usually balls don't go over there on a sac bunt, so would have been interesting to see that happen, but you're totally right. But what I was saying is there was no one at third base, and I guess that's just how it goes for first and second bunt, but if they had someone over there, Carlone is not getting to third safely, as that one is dribbled foul.
And like we said, Max Ross, one of the big RBI guys on this Bucs team, coming into play with 12. Would love to see him get that up to 13 or maybe even 14 here. I won't be too greedy. Carlone's the run that matters the most, and with just one out, a sac fly would score him.
Infield still in for the Pilots, trying to protect that precious runner, standing 90 feet away. 2 in scoring position, though. 0-1, ground ball to first. They'll come home with it, and I don't know what happened. The throw hit Max Ross, and Ross is going to be put at first base. Carlone scores. It's a 3-2 ball game, but Will, let's take a second and unpack what just happened. That ball hit the shoulder of Max Ross?
Yeah, I don't know how that's really possible unless he was running out of the base path. We're getting another look here on our monitor. No, he was running fine.
He honestly tried to make an attempt to get out of the way of it.
He really did. He, if anything, went away from the field of play, and you'd expect that throw to be coming on the angle on the field of play so that Chadwick could make the tag on Carlone. I don't really know what Max Ross is supposed to do.
And I kind of saw Chadwick dodge towards the foul part, or just the foul ground in general, and that makes me think that that ball was not going to be a good throw. And because of that, Will, I think that if it didn't hit Max Ross, if Ross was invisible, Will, and that ball got to Chadwick, I think it's too far on the first base side, and I think Carlone scores on that either way. So that was just a missed throw, and it should be an error on Hayes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll go down as a hit just because it was such a wacky play.
Right, it
But
probably
could
will.
definitely see it go either way.
And now Lamb hits this one into the gap. That's going to split it. And it gets down, getting to it quickly as Dylan Marks. He keys it in. The ball dribbling around. Callahan comes around to score. It's a 4-2 game, and Lamb ends up on second base. And that one was not hit as deep as I thought. Usually the balls that Lamb hits out to the gap are all the way to the wall, but Dylan Marks had that one pretty easily.
Yeah, and for Lamb, just the doubles machine. Ball wasn't hit nearly deep enough that you'd expect him to get to second, but he's just got a magnet over there towards second base.
So Lamb, I guess they'll call that a single, and he advanced. So 4-2 game, the infield's still in, still just one out for the Pilots. And I really thought he got a hold of that ball, and I think Lamb might have thought that same thing too.
It's being ruled a double, and going back to that Ross play, ruled a fielder's choice.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, but interesting, and I'm sure whoever is covering the score for the Pilots is just having a tricky time. And these are just a lot of wacky plays.
Yeah, I actually don't hate the fielder's choice call, even though there was no out recorded. Ross didn't really get a hit. It was the fielder's choice, and then just no outs.
I agree. I didn't even think that could be a possibility.
Neither did I.
1-1 misses download, so fielder's choice. Ross is all the way at third base now after that base hit from Lamb. Carlone, Callahan, Josh Hankins scoring in this inning. Bucks not done yet. Knowles takes that one inside. The game has just totally flipped on its head, Will.
Could not have put it better myself. Felt like there was blood in the water after the run in the fifth, and seems like there was.
Yeah, Callahan's triple too. Just even though that didn't score a run, probably gave the offense a lot of confidence as Peyton Knowles goes up the middle and hits this through. 1-1 scores. Here comes Lamb. He is going to score. It's a 2 RBI single for Peyton Knowles. He gets the job done. The Bucks up 6-2.
A 5-run sixth inning, one of the biggest innings of the year. If things come down to it and it's really tight between the Bucks and the Miners for that #1 seed, this is an inning you're going to look back on. Not only that, but if the Bucks play the Pilots in the first round of the playoffs, also an inning you're going to look back on. The Pilots are winning 2-1, and the Bucks have just stormed back and now have a commanding 4-run lead.
And Peyton Knowles with the 2 RBI single, and got to give it to Andrew Lamb for taking that extra base. Getting to second, he made it easy for himself to come around and score on that last base hit. And Tommy Beam, who was pitching lights out before this inning, it seemed like the one triple and then the base hit by Rob Vandergrift back in the first inning, that was the only thing that the Bucks got off of him. But now a 5 spot put up in the 6. We'll see where the Pilots go to, and it looks like it's going to be another arm. So Tommy Beam's day is done. The Bucks with a rude awakening here in the 6th inning. 6-2 is the score. We'll come back and introduce to you a new hurler for the Pilots. welcome back. New pitcher on the mound for the Pilots, and it's probably someone we didn't expect, and it's Edison Polanco.
Yeah, definitely didn't expect him so far this season. Hasn't played a ton, was a late arrival, if I'm not mistaken, and in the amount he has played, it's only been at the plate. So I don't know if the Pilots are throwing in the towel yet again. Seems a little bit surprising. I know there's a lot of games coming up, but still.
And Brody Briggs at the dish instead. He's going to take over for Dylan Maltby, who comes out of this game just 2 at-bats. Any idea why they would be putting Briggs in?
Yeah, not entirely sure. Maybe just the righty-lefty matchup.
And off the hand of Edison Polanco, he gathers, throws to second, and he gets the out. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. Off the bare hand of Polanco.
I just, trembled because I can see the injury waiting to happen. He shakes off his hand. I think he's laughing about it. I hope he's okay. I've never seen a pitcher go for the bare hand on a line drive.
What an interesting play, and Briggs almost had a single up the... That would have been a single up the middle. It was hot off the bat. There was virtually no chance for Chase Knight or Troy Sanders, the middle infield, to cut that one off, and Polanco saved a base hit, and he got the out, too. Wow.
That was something else.
So, Mark, that is a fielder's choice for how Brody Briggs gets himself on.
What an inning of fielder's choices.
And this is the third pinch hitter for the Bucs in this inning, and now almost all of them have really worked out, I would say. Andrew Lamb a double, Cole Carlone a single. I guess Brody Briggs didn't really work out, but it would have if one of the most awkward plays I've ever seen didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, that was... I still can't believe it, in all honesty.
1-0 to Hunsaker's a called strike. Long top half of the 6th inning. Game's just been breezing right along this whole game, and slowed way down as the Bucs put up a 5 spot, but are not done yet. Big swing and a miss from Hunsaker. This inning started with Josh Hankins, the man on deck. Got on with that error, and will similar thing to last game, the first inning, and actually worse happened in this 6th inning. Hunsaker takes that one inside. I'll remind you, Josh Hankins got on base with that error out in right field back in the first game, the first inning. And the Bucs eventually went on to score 3 runs in that first inning. And here, started with an error, with Josh Hankins being the batter as Brody Briggs tries to take second base, and it's a swing and a miss from Riley Hunsaker. They'll put the finishing touches on that, and Edison Polanco does a great job of getting the Pilots out of the top half of the 6th inning, but it's all after 5 runs come across to score for the Bucs, all started by Josh Hankins. Cole Carlone at a base hit. How about Ryan Callahan, Andrew Lamb? The list goes on, Will. We will not bore the viewers with that, but we'll head to the bottom half of the 6th inning where the Pilots trying to come back against the Bucs, but it's now a 6-2 lead for the Anchorage Bucs. Bottom half of the 6th inning. How about a whole new ball game, Will? 6-2 lead, and I'm sure Gurney feels very good coming into the game now with 4 runs to work with. It was a 2-1 game when Gurney last exited the mound and now comes into a game where the Bucs are up 4 runs, and that's just how the tide can turn. The offense just really coming alive here, and Gurney, all he needs to do is just keep playing the same baseball and hopefully can finish this up himself. But like I said, Brett Castillo warming up in the bullpen. 1-0 misses inside.
For Gurney, it was 2-0 when he came into this game, and now he's in line to get the W. And like we expected, Callahan to third, Carlone to first, and Briggs catching.
Carlone coming in to hit for Rob Vandegrift. Andrew Lamb coming in to bat for Adam Enyart, and then Brody Briggs in for Dylan Maltby. And Gurney is going to fire a strike as Owen Hayes was out of the batter's box. And I don't know
I guess
what
he never called time.
Owen, I don't know what he was thinking, because you're exactly right. If you don't call time, Gurney's just going to keep doing his thing, and a big swing and miss at that. Owen Hayes has a word for the home plate umpire, and he just got himself run.
Wow. And Chad Gurney is loving every bit of this, I can promise you that.
And Rich Price is like a statue over on the third base side. He is the head coach and the third base coach. He was having a word with the home plate umpire before, and I was concerned about his fate. And he probably knows that if he speaks a single word to this home plate umpire, he could be having the same situation as Owen Hayes. So Owen Hayes is out of this ball game.
Things are just crumbling for the Pilots. Unraveling. 2-0. They were in decent shape. 1 run in the 5th, 5 runs in the 6th, and they've lost their heads in the process.
And I'm just not sure what Owen Hayes was thinking. I don't know if he was looking for a gift from the home plate umpire after not calling time.
And Rich Price may have just decided, you know what, I'm going to say what I need to say, and if I get tossed, I get tossed.
Or he's just making sure that Owen Hayes actually leaves the ballpark.
And I'm not sure what just happened over at first base, because Tim Massey's not over there anymore. Did he just get tossed?
He was having a word with the...
It seemed calm, though.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's nobody in the box over there for now. Gotta love some extracurricular activity.
So the batter now, Logan Sanders.
It looks like it's still Tim Massey over there at first.
Big swing and a miss from Gurney. He's probably using this to his advantage now.
Oh, yeah.
0-2. Ooh, thought he had strike 3.
I did too.
Everyone was taking a step towards third or first base, but we'll have to try again. 1-2. And that one misses again. Working really quickly now.
Yeah, he's pumped up. He's feeling himself. This is a perfect game for Chad Gurney.
2-2. Called strike 3. A little bit of a delayed call. But Logan Sanders going to have to head back to the dugout. Back-to-back strikeouts for Chad Gurney. One looking, one swinging.
And a little extra look at Logan Sanders after that strikeout. Gurney, a competitor, but also a little bit of a silly guy. I know this extra stuff going around riles him up, and this is just the perfect game for him. He's not going to lose his cool, but he's going to use this to his advantage and show a little swagger on the mound.
Now the other Sanders brother hits this into right field. That's Troy Sanders, and getting to it is Adam Enyart. Excuse me, no, that ball's going to be down. Sanders taking a big turn around second. He's heading for third. Burns into Callahan, but it's not in time, and I really don't have a view over there, so I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, Andrew Lamb over there in the corner in right field, and we talked about how this wind could make it difficult on fielders. Got leather on it, but was unable to secure it. Interested to see how that one will be scored. Very similar to the first play of the whole day, where we saw Jack Dorn in right field drop a ball off the bat of the Bucs third baseman that game, shortstop today, Josh Hankins.
So that will bring up Evan Chadwick.
And it's ruled an error.
An error on Andrew Lamb. Excuse me, I said Enyart, but Andrew Lamb coming into the game to hit for Enyart will now play in the field, of course.
A 3-base error. Costly.
1-0. Swung on and missed. For a guy like Gurney, though, it doesn't seem like a triple, or not a triple, but a guy ending up at third base with 2 outs will affect him at all.
No. Especially with this lead.
1 ball, 1 strike. check swing, he definitely went around. And looking back at that now, at the Owen Hayes cold strike before the strikeout, he did not call time at all. It looked like he was iffy about that call beforehand, had a word with the umpire, and just totally stepped out of the box without calling time. 1-2. Called strike 3. Chad Gurney works around the air in right field. We head to the 7th inning. The Bucs trying to add some insurance. It's a 6-2 lead still when we come back. Top half of the 7th inning, last chance for the Bucs to add some insurance, and Jake Dodge comes in to play first base because Owen Hayes got himself ejected just the last half inning. And Josh Hankins at the dish, leadoff batter, will lead it off for the Bucs yet again, and he takes a called strike.
Yeah, and with 9 Bucs coming to the plate last inning, and Hankins the first, as Polanco's working super quickly, misses to Hankins. You knew right when that error happened that it was going to cost the Pilots, and it did.
1-1, a grounder out to Troy Sanders. He collects and throws, and quickly one down.
Curious who we'll see.
It's Andrew Rudd out there in the bullpen right now. Brett Castillo has sat down.
I was talking to Andrew Rudd before Game 1 today, telling him how he didn't even give you and I enough time to get things set for the 9th inning on Wednesday. I went back and watched the YouTube video. I think it was 2 minutes and 30 seconds, that whole half inning, if that.
Unbelievable. Carlone now, and that one skips up to the plate. Blanco did a great job last inning getting out of the inning. Fielder's choice to Brody Briggs. That was off his bare hand, a line drive off his bare hand. His pitching hand, too. This is one upstairs, and then after that, got the strikeout of Hunsaker.
I guess a non-typical pitcher, maybe not as protective of that pitching hand as we'd be used to. No doubt he's given it all for the team.
2-0, ground ball down the first base line. It's fair. Carlone taking a big turn around first. He's chugging his way to second. He might have his eyes on the 3-bagger. Heading into third, and it's going to be a foul ball.
No, it's a fair ball, but it's going to be a ground rule double.
I was about to say, it's a really delayed foul ball call. So a ground rule double, man, well, I wish I had a view over there.
Yeah, it got stuck in the corner, I guess, near the bullpen area. You know what? I think somebody on the Pilots might have left the bullpen door open.
Ooh.
And I think it might have hit that door. That should be a penalty for them. They should get to go to third. Not a penalty. They should be penalized is what I meant.
No, I like it.
Not an actual
Let's add
penalty.
some rules. Yellow card for the bullpen.
Oh, well, I mean, it wouldn't be the first card with the red card on Owen Hayes earlier. First ground rule double we've seen this season.
That one's outside to Ryan Callahan. Maybe they could penalize them by giving them just 2 outs to work with in the bottom half of this inning. That's really difficult, I think. I wouldn't leave the bullpen door open ever again if that were the case.
Got to teach them the lesson somehow, because now I'm leaving it open.
Yeah.
I mean, Carlone's in at third if not for that. I don't know if it was the bullpen door. It might have got stuck on something else over there, but...
And a back pick to second, Carlone just barely safe in there.
Yeah, if the throw from Polanco is closer to the other side of the bag, they probably have him.
But what a great move by Polanco. The back pick at second where you spin all the way around is a really tough pickoff move. You know Polanco's definitely pitched at a lower level. That one's a cold strike. He's utilizing that breaking ball as well. He struck out Hunsaker. I mean, Polanco's got that stuff.
He looks like a pitcher other than when he stuck his right hand out there, which I've never seen a pitcher do. Yeah, no, he looks like a pitcher, just hasn't been used as one so far this year.
2-1 misses outside. Wondering if they were rethinking game one, if they should have put in Polanco first out instead of Owen Hayes, but can't go back and change that now. 3-1, fouled away by Callahan.
And I think the Pilots' problem is less that they don't trust their pitchers to shut down the Bucs. It's once the Bucs have a big enough lead, I don't think they trust their bats to come back. And given the runs they've put up the last few games, it's somewhat understandable. But it also hurts your bats' confidence because when you sub these position players in as pitchers, you're telling your bats, I don't think you can do it, and it makes it harder for them to do it.
Yeah, exactly right. 3-2, check swing, they'll appeal, and they say he didn't go. I think that's the right call, as Callahan looked like he held up his swing.
Callahan just continuing his great play today. Started at first, moved to third, and the defensive change has not fazed him at all. 2 hits in 3 at-bats, one of them a triple. He has an RBI, a run scored, and now the walk to add on to it.
And that is the first walk of this game for either side. Wow. Tommy Eisenstadt hits that towards the middle, but Chase Knight is there, flips to second for 1, and on to first. It's a double play and a great 6-4-3 turn by the Pilots. They eliminate the threat by the Bucs here in the top half of the 7th, but they're down to their final 3 outs. We'll see who it is for the Bucs. Look like it'll be Andrew Rudd coming on to try to close out the Pilots and get this doubleheader sweep done with. We head to the bottom half of the 7th, a score of 6-2, Bucs lead. Welcome back. A couple of changes besides Andrew Rudd, who's now on the hill. Will Burns comes in to play shortstop and moves Josh Hankins over to second base, so that means Peyton Knowles is out of this game. Andrew Lamb still out there in right, Hunsaker in left, Max Ross in center. Andrew Rudd on the hill for the Bucs. We'll tell you all about him after this first pitch, and it's a line drive single over the head of Ryan Callahan, a base hit for Marcus Sanders to lead off the 7th inning. For Andrew Rudd, big bullpen piece. This is his 11th appearance, and his 10 beforehand, 2-1 with 3 saves now. Like I said, no game started, 22 innings pitched, 18 hits, just 1 earned run. And he has just been so sharp all year, a sure-handed piece out of the bullpen, and a great guy to go to try to close this game out.
Yeah, got 3 outs and 6 pitches last time.
First pitch, the leadoff batter, Dylan Marks, misses. Bucs up by 4. Rudd would probably love a ground ball right here with his new middle infield. 1-0, called strike on the outer half. Like I said, Hankins moves over to replace Knowles at second. Will Burns comes in to replace Hankins at short. Next one, check swing. They appeal and say he did not go. Will, any idea why they bring in Will Burns this late in the game as a
Yeah,
defensive
no,
piece?
it's a little bit weird in this late in the game, especially with a 4-run lead, but I don't know.
2-1's fouled back. I mean, Hankins sure-handed at shortstop. Same with Will Burns. Of course, Hankins plays a mean second base too, and that means Hankins has played third, short, and second in both of the games of the doubleheader. In the first game, he played third base. Started at short here in game 2, and now has moved to second base. Cold strike 3 to Dylan Marks. That one looked right down A Street. And Andrew Rudd picks up his first strikeout, and more importantly, his first out in the 7th.
Yeah, had one strikeout when he pitched last against these Pilots, picked up the one there. Only reason he didn't have more than one strikeout is the other two guys were out on just a few pitches.
This is hit to center field. Max Ross shading towards his right, and he makes that one for out number 2.
Yep, that's an Andrew Rudd at bat right there. one pitch, one pitch now, the second out.
So that will bring up Jack Dorn. A 2-run shot all the way back in the 3rd inning, and we thought that the Pilots might have the Bucs number this game, but of course, a 5 spot put up in the 6th inning, and that was just not the case. He gets a pop-up. That's in foul ground, but it might be playable. Callahan gives it a chase, but it tails foul and out of play. So the wind helping that one, obviously, and the height of the ball, too. So Red quickly ahead 0-1. A lot of changes defensively and technically offensively for this Bucs team. Of course, 3 different pitchers used. Chad Gurney being the second after Elijah Dew, and now Andrew Rudd. 0-1 right to Carlone at first base. He steps on it for out number 3. A 3 unassisted, and Andrew Rudd, another lightning fast 7th inning after even giving up a base hit. But the Bucs get the job done. A doubleheader sweep, a mayor's sweep. They win it 6-2. We'll wrap up everything. We'll give you the totals once we come back. Don't go anywhere. The Bucs win it 6-2. Welcome back to Mulcahy Stadium. A doubleheader sweep. How about that, Will? And a great game altogether. Back-to-back 7-inning games, and the Bucs winning grand fashion in Game 1, and then 6-2 here in Game 2. Well, walk me through what you thought about both of these games.
I mean, how often do you get 2 separate sweeps in one day? First, you sweep the Mayor's Cup, and then you sweep the doubleheader. The vibes are high for this Bucs team right now. Specifically looking at Game 2, the Pilots really crumbled. They had a lead, only 3 innings left for the Bucs at the plate. Got 1 in the 5th, which I think was really big, especially it was just really big, especially given that they hadn't scored yet. And then in the 6th, once Hankins reached on the air, you just knew something big was coming. 5 runs big? Not necessarily, but that's what the Bucs got.
The Bucs just doing a great job both of these games. The resiliency is there. Team getting their photo once again, and like you said, not every day you get a back-to-back sweep in just one day. Mayor's sweep, doubleheader sweep is a great day, a sweet day for a sweep. How about that? Once again, the Bucs win 6-2. Looking ahead, tomorrow the Bucs will travel for their first actual away game, visiting another ballpark, and it seems that's the first time since the Peninsula Series all the way back in late June that the Bucs have actually gone on the road, and they will go to Chugiak to face the Chinooks for a 4 p.m. game, and that is the first of 4 upcoming games against the Chinooks out in Chugiak. So important to get that first win there and improve the win streak, which they have, which right now is at 5 games I believe, for the Bucs coming into this game. 3-game win streak, 4-game win streak with the first game, and then now 5-game win streak. So another huge win streak started for this Bucs team, and they'll look to add on tomorrow, 4 p.m. at the Chinooks. For today's game, the Pilots, 2 runs on 6 hits and 2 errors. Some sloppy play. And for the Bucs, 6 runs on 9 hits, also 2 errors, but they escape with the doubleheader sweep. For my partner, Will Hopkins, I'm Dick Maslia saying so long and good night. Another Bucs win, that's 5 straight. We'll see you tomorrow.